Today, I want to talk about leverage and counterparty exposure. And anybody who follows this channel knows that we have spoken about this many, many, many times. And my comments have always kind of been along these lines that you and most people have no comprehension of the leverage that is used in our marketplace. And none of us have any concept of the counterparty exposure because of this leverage and how it's everywhere in the system. And I will also say that I had no clue how much leverage that people were using in this last rally until yesterday. So thanks to Kristen for this. Back in 2020, a firm called BlackBrook Asset Management went belly up. Okay, and this was before Archegos $10 billion fallout, which sent Credit Suisse into the history books. Okay, and this firm, which allowed their trader Ralph, a Singapore-based trader, to leverage his firm BlackBrook's $144,067 in net assets by 11,000 times by naked shorting domestic government bonds, which is banned by the European Union in the UK Financial Conduct. Now, the counterparties on this were not your ordinary Joes, right? We're talking Citigroup, MSFG. They lost money, about $250 million, but there's more. We'll show you everybody, okay? But the point is that these firms, quote unquote, the best firms in the world in the financial industry, leveraged up $144,000, 11,000 times. And here are the list of the companies and how much they lent them, okay, to short. And you can see Citigroup is number one with almost $1 billion, all right? But when you add it up, he was short $2.6 billion, and these people are the counterparties, all right? And so in the end, they all lost money. And they say here, if you look in, I don't know, it's not really paragraphs, but the fourth insert here. In hindsight, it may have been the canary in the coal mine for deeper issues and how the banks at the time managed counterparty risk. At the time, they still do it exactly the same way, okay? And they go on and say that BlackBrook was an exception, and that is what makes it relevant. It's not an exception. It's not an exception at all. And you say, well, how do you know that? Well, I really don't know that. But what I'm saying to you is this: think about it. BlackBrook had $144,000. And even if you don't get to the 2.6 billion, Citicorp did $987 million short against $144,000. Okay? That's insane. All right? Now, they say that this is unusual, but let me ask you a question. This BlackBrook had $144,000. Wang at least had several $1 billion, even though he had $10 billion leveraged on top of that. But the point is that he was fairly large, not large, but a couple billions, a couple billion, okay? But this shows you what is really going on behind the scenes. So when we think we know what's going to happen with First Brands, okay, well, I would argue, think about this. How about if this company owns some of the First Brand and they're 11,000 times leveraged? You see what I'm saying? So leverage is much, 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 much bigger and more pervasive than any of us think whatsoever. It's beyond comprehension. And think about this. It's 2025. This happened in 2020. If we didn't get the court records yesterday, we still would not know about this. Okay? And it's not the canary in the coal mine. It's showing the structure of our market is so opaque. I mean, you look at First Branch, you look at Tricolor, you look at this Black Brook. We're so opaque. We don't ask for anything. And now we have the president saying, hey, we don't want anybody to report for 6 months. Forget 3 months. We don't report for 6 months. Listen, we have to have discipline in this market. So how do we manage this? How do we say to these banks, you can't do this? How do you lend them the money? How does no one go to jail? I I'm speechless, okay? And I'm the guy who's been saying, we wouldn't believe the leverage if I told you. And what I knew is nothing compared to this. So, what do we do? I mean, I'm asking you, what do we do? Do we limit the banks on how they leverage up? Do we say you go to jail if you leverage up more than 1,000 times? What do you think? Like and follow and tell me in the comments.